In this video, I'll show you how to use system date macros for report parameter values and for scheduling. Let's start with report parameter values. So let's open our burst. And within the burst, we have our customer billing report. And this report has a date parameter, billing date. Now what we'd like to do with this burst is schedule it weekly on Mondays to run for the previous Monday. Now we could code in that value manually, but then we'd have to update that value every week within the user interface. Instead, we can leverage a date macro. So here if we open up our macro builder and we go under the full date section, we can see the full list of date macros that we have available to us to provide dynamic custom values for date parameters. So let's look at the today macro. So we're going to schedule it on, let's say today is Monday, today's our schedule date, but we'd like the date to resolve as the previous Monday. So we're going to use our today macro plus a bit of math. So we're going to say today minus 1 week. Most of our date macros do support this math logic, and for each macro, if you select it, it will describe to you what that macro can do and how math is supported. So this is very basic. Today's date minus 1 week, but then we also need to format the date. Our reporting platform is expecting a date value as mm-dd-yy. So we can control the date formatting as well with the macro. So we simply apply that and apply it to our macro. And now as this burst runs every week on a Monday, InfoBurst will automatically work out the date of the previous Monday and supply that to the reporting system for the refresh. Now, in our second example, our monthly sales report, this report has 2 date prompts or parameters, start date and end date. And what we'd like to do with this burst is schedule it to run monthly, where the report is run for the previous month, so the start date of the previous month and the end date of the previous month. So again, into our macro builder, and for the first day in month, or the start date, we'd like to use the first day in month macro. So we're scheduling in the current month, so we don't want the first day of the current month, we want the first day of the previous month. So first day in month minus 1m, or 1 month, and again we'll do the formatting. Apply that. And our end date is the last day in current month. We want the last day of the previous month, so last day in month minus 1m, and our formatting. Next, we'll look at the use of date macros in a schedule. In this example, we'd like to schedule a burst to run on the second to last day of every quarter. Let's create our schedule. We'll call this quarterly schedule. We will add a burst. And now we'll determine the frequency based on a date macro. So from our frequency list, we'll select using macro. We'd like this to run, let's say, on 8 a.m. on the scheduled date. And now we'll utilize our date macro. So from our macro builder, we will look for the last day in quarter macro. And again, we'd like this to run for the second to last day every quarter. So we'll say last day in quarter minus 1 day, and apply that. And we need to add the macro to our dates list, and we can go on to add additional macros if necessary.